Hello, welcome to our show. I'm Irma Baker, and I'm so glad that you're tuning in today. We have one of our very favorite guests with us today, and that is Mark Ludwig. He is a naturalist with the Medina County Park District, and he always brings us these fascinating, informative shows with, what should I say, props?
Lots of props, yeah.
You've got lots of props today, Mark.
Yeah.
So good to have you with us.
Oh, thanks for inviting me back.
I know that we're going to talk about singing insects today, and
Yes.
frankly, I'm not a big insect person, but if you tell me they sing, I'll at least listen.
Yeah.
But before we get into that, you were telling me just before the show that this is migration time for the monarch butterfly. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's starting, it probably will start here in the next week, couple weeks or so. I think everything's a little bit later this year because of the weather we've had. But yeah, usually like the peak monarch migration time in this area is like mid-September. But we'll see this year. So basically what is happening is this generation now that's starting to hatch from, or emerge, I guess is the better word to say, from the chrysalis, is the migrating generation. So this generation of monarchs will head to Mexico, central Mexico, and spend the winter in mountain range, clinging to, I think it's evergreen trees, fir trees, I think they call them, for the winter. And then in the spring, they'll head back to Texas, lay their eggs, and then the next generation will start to head north. They'll lay their eggs, and then the next generation. And usually in a year, we have between maybe 3 or 4 generations of monarchs, but it's that last generation that somehow in their brain, you know, probably because of the light, the less light as we go on, somehow is something's triggered in the brain saying they need to migrate. So it's just amazing. And the fact that they, you know, like we talked last time about birds, how do they know where to go? It's programmed in their brains.
And how can those delicate little wings take them all the way from northern Ohio to central Mexico?
It's amazing, absolutely amazing that it happens. I don't know. I mean, nature is amazing. And I do have a couple of photos. The first one is of a monarch, so which everybody is probably familiar with.
Okay, now you told me something very interesting before the show about the marks on the butterfly.
Yep, so that particular one is a male because of the 2 dots that are on the lower wing. The female would not have those, and those are scent glands apparently. So there's a way to tell the difference between male and female. But obviously you have to see it up close. The other cool thing is that here in the next couple of weeks, in September, the first Saturday of September, the second Saturday of September, and then also the second Saturday of September, which I think is the 7th and 14th. We have tagging that occurs at Wolf Creek, and you can come out with your families and catch the monarch butterflies and then bring them to us, and we'll put little stickers underneath their wings that all have numbers on them. So they're like a little license plate that is attached to the butterfly, and as the butterfly travels to Mexico and they find them either on the way there or in Mexico or on their way back to Texas, they send that information to the University of Kansas that does a monarch watch study, and it's just a huge like research project, just figuring out these amazing butterflies. So you actually help in this research project, so you can come out.
A national research project that we can get involved in right here.
Yep.
Well, you brought us a poster, didn't you?
Yeah, and then this is showing you the migration of the monarchs. So this is the fall, showing you where they go in Mexico, around central Mexico, and then this is the spring, kind of the reverse. So amazing, yeah, absolutely amazing.
Well, and we've got some amazing insects around here too that actually sing.
Yep, so summer is just a great time for lots of different things, but especially insects. I mean, not only butterflies, which are amazing, but all these singing insects, we call them. And it's probably like one of my favorite sounds of summer. Everybody has favorite sounds of summer, whether it's, you know, ice cream man or, you know, listening to like live music outside, or you know, and this is the music of nature, which is amazing. So, and we'll just talk about some of these singing insects. So.
You even brought some along.
I brought
to
some
show
live
us.
ones as well, but we filmed them beforehand because it would be, basically I would hold on to it and it would jump and spend the whole time trying to catch it.
We don't want the studio having jumping insects all over the place. So thank you for not,
no
not
problem.
doing that.
But we'll start with probably the most familiar one, which is the field cricket. So everybody's probably familiar with this one, and I'll play the song of it. And basically, it's a very simple mechanism that insects have. It is what is called a stridulation, which is basically I forgot to film this, but it's basically a file that they have on their wing, and then also what is called a scraper, and this is on the top of their wing.
So if we could look at what you're showing.
Yep, and I'll
right
show
now.
you. So basically, I have to demonstrate this. So yeah, file everybody's familiar with, and then a scraper. I couldn't find anything other than a screwdriver this morning. But yeah, this is a really simple principle. This is basically on the top of their wing, and so they have this file built into their wing, and then a scraper, and all they're doing is just rubbing against that, creating that sound.
Okay, so what you're saying is it's not a sound coming out of their throats.
Nope. No, it's part of their wings, their upper part of their wing that they're rubbing together. So it's amazing. And so I'll play that sound. We'll go back to the cricket. And everybody's familiar with this. Probably put everybody to sleep at this point. So this is, once again, the wings rubbing together. The next slide is of a snowy tree cricket. And this one's kind of interesting because there's a way to actually estimate the temperature of what's outside, and it's counting the number of chirps within 13 seconds and then adding 40 to it, and it's pretty accurate. I'll actually play the sound of. So what is happening is, as it's colder, the insects, they sound, it's a lot slower, the song. But when it's warmer, the song speeds up. So I'll kind of increase the speed right here of that. I'll play it again. So
that would have been on a very hot day.
So the first song that you heard was a song of like a colder insect, and then as it warms up, it gets warmer, obviously, and then the sound is faster. It's really amazing. So you can actually kind of estimate the temperature based on this insect. It's amazing.
You look at a clock with a second hand that has, and you do 13 seconds?
Yeah, so it's 13 seconds. You set like a stopwatch on your phone or whatever, and then count the number of chirps within that 13 seconds, and then add 40. And that gives you the degrees in Fahrenheit. So. Yeah, so it's, say if you heard, 30 chirps within 13 seconds and then add 40, it would be like 70 degrees out. And then, if it's faster, then warmer. So yeah, amazing. The next one I'm going to play is of a, these are tree crickets, by the way. This is called a black horned tree cricket, just to give you an example of the different sounds. So this is just more of a continuous chirping sound. All right, and we'll go to the next slide. And I actually brought this one in today, and so I have two pictures of it. This is, and actually I don't have a sound of it. I didn't even know I was going to find it, but they have a similar sound to the last sound that you heard, so just a long trill, I guess you can call it.
Boy, that looks like some kind of an outer space
Yep,
alien.
It's amazing. So this is something that we do have in this area. This is called a handsome trig, and a trig is a type of cricket. So, and I think they call it a sword-tailed cricket because of it has like little swords that stick out of the back of it. But so it's called the handsome trig, they call it. And then the next slide is, so this is the one that I brought in that's in this container, but
So it's very tiny.
Very, very small. Yeah, you can see the actual size of it. But the amazing thing is just how loud these insects are. I mean, just for the size that they are, it is amazing how loud they are.
And this is the one that's in
Yeah,
that?
that's in the container here, yeah. And like I said, we took the picture beforehand, just it makes it easier. But yeah, he's somewhere. Should be in there,
Oh, there are
unless he
two
escaped.
of them in there. No, I think you've got this well
Yeah,
sealed.
yeah.
Yeah, there are two, a little one and a bigger one.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, the bigger one's looking right at me.
Yeah.
I think we'll put this one back.
So it was interesting. Last night I had this in my house, and it was driving my cat crazy because they were calling like all night, and I had to finally move it like outside because my cat, was just not happy. So our next picture we will show you is of mole crickets. So these are all insects that we have around this area. This one lives in burrows in the ground. It actually digs the burrows. It has like shovels, for feet. It kind of looks like shovels, and so they burrow into the ground. So they're more of a louder chirp.
And it would blend in with the dirt.
Yep.
Is that to keep predators away, like
exactly.
birds and that?
Yep. I think they might actually cover up their burrows. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, they're hard to find because they're in the ground, and a lot of times you'll hear them but not really see them. But yeah, it just to give you a variety of all the different insects out there. Our next one is of a meadow katydid. So this is one that I brought in, and I believe I do have a sound of it. I was hoping that playing some of these songs would trigger these guys into singing, but I don't think they're going to cooperate today. So a lot of the smaller katydids sound like sprinklers. So this is a sound very similar to like a sprinkler in your lawn, and they're a little bit quieter. They're a little bit smaller insect, as you can see in the next slide. A little bit bigger than that trig.
Really, really tiny.
Yep, but tiny, yeah. So that's him right there, yeah.
So apparently it doesn't hurt to handle them. I mean, I
No.
don't mean handle them, but I mean if you get them on them, they're not going to bite you. They're not going to sting or anything like that.
Yeah, they mostly eat plants. I mean, that's so yeah, they're not going to be a problem. The next one we have is this is our one that I actually don't have a picture of other than this guy. This is just a different type of katydid. They call it a black-legged katydid, and so yeah, that's the one that I brought. Very colorful too. The katydids, I should mention at this point, are actually grasshoppers. So it's kind of confusing. The grasshoppers that have really long antennae, or they call them long horns, are called katydids. The one that have short antenna or short horns, they call them, are grasshoppers or locusts. So there's a lot of confusion because a lot of times the cicadas, which I'll talk about in a few minutes, a lot of times people call them locusts, and so there's a lot of confusion. So yeah, katydids are basically grasshoppers with long antenna, and then what they actually call grasshoppers or locusts have short antenna, so there's confusion. But I have pictures mostly of katydids, grasshoppers with long antennas. This is what the katydids were named after. This is actually the true katydid, and these are one of my favorites. Let me see if I can play the sound for you. This one actually says its name. Ever hear that before?
So it's saying katydid.
It's saying katydid, yep. Yeah, sometimes they just say Katie, and then katydid. But it's really amazing because camping, we're going to be camping this weekend. Just one of my favorite sounds at night to hear. And it's really amazing when you hear like hundreds, of them singing at once, and it's just so loud. And so the funny thing, as a naturalist camping, I never sleep because I'm always busy trying to identify things at night between the insects and the owls and everything else. So yeah, it's amazing. But yeah, this is called a true katydid, the last one that you saw.
I need to ask you this because I don't know if it's a myth or if it's true, but I heard that there's one of the singing insects that when you start hearing it, like in the middle of summer,
Yeah.
that it's really predicting 60 days till the first frost.
Okay. Yeah, I've read that somewhere before, but I'm not sure if that's true or not, or a myth. Yeah, it sounds like it may be like a myth. Like the woolly bear caterpillars, the same kind of thing with the more black, on the caterpillar, the more severe winter, but I don't know, that's not typically, true, but it's
Well, it seems like you start to hear them towards the
Yeah.
middle and end of July, and of
that's
course
the
for
thing,
us
yep.
around here,
Yep.
that would mean we
Yep.
often have a first frost the end of September.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, usually it's kind of amazing because the frogs and the birds, and I probably mentioned this last time, take, basically they're singing in the spring and then early summer, and then as soon as the frogs and birds kind of quit singing, then the insects take over. So it's kind of amazing how they know, when their time is to sing. So there's not too many songs going on in nature. Our next slide is, we'll keep moving here, is the angle wing katydid, just a different type of katydid. And this is one that you typically see. It's pretty common. Their song is not exciting as the true katydid, but they also, I don't have it in here, but it also sounds like just taking like two stones and just kind of tapping them together. They have that part of the sound as well. And then the next one, let's see here, is just a different type of katydid called a bush katydid. And this is just a
no, you said that
different
the
variety.
katydids are the ones with the longer.
Long antenna, yeah. It's hard to see like in the photos, but yeah, they have really long antenna, yeah. So once again, yeah, it kind of sounds like a sprinkler. So a lot of the katydids, yeah, sound like sprinklers, so easiest way to remember. And then we'll move on to the next one, which is actually another type of katydid. Actually, this is the bush katydid. The other one, I'm not sure which one that was. I probably should have labeled these. But if we move on to the next one, so this is the true grasshopper. So it has the shorter antenna. You can actually see it in this picture right here. And grasshoppers, actually, it's interesting because the katydids are using their wings. This is different with the grasshopper. It actually uses its leg to make that sound. So it actually rubs the leg has like little spikes on it, and it rubs it against the wing to make the sound. So they're a little bit different, and a lot of grasshoppers don't even call, but this is one that does, and I'll play it. It's not really a pleasant sound like some of the other katydids that we heard.
You can hear the
So this
scraping.
is rubbing the leg against the wing. So that's, and then the next insect that we'll talk about are the cicadas. So this is not rubbing the wings together or like a grasshopper rubbing the leg on the wing. This is actually something they have on the side of their body, of their abdomen, that is almost like a disc shape. I don't really have a picture of it. I'll just have to describe it. And it's basically, they have ribs in this disc. And what's happening is the ribs are basically, they have a muscle attached to them, and the ribs are kind of making a cracking noise. So that loud noise that you hear from the cicadas are the ribs cracking or bending, creating this noise. And
Can we go back to that picture?
sure. And we'll talk about some of the cicadas that we have in this area.
Tell me this, because I can't really tell.
Yep.
Is that the bug next to a rock, or is that its wing? What is that to the left?
Oh, is the wing. Yeah, it's part of the wing. And I think the next picture I have, and this is the one that I brought in, which is no longer alive. But yeah, it's part of their wing. A lot of people, when they see these, they think it's like a fly. But they're actually not related to a fly. They're related to like little leaf hoppers, they call them. And they actually drink sap, so they have like little drinking straws as a mouth. But they're one of the loudest insects in the world, and I will play a couple sounds for you. So this one is one of my favorites. Usually you hear it in the southern part of Ohio or mid-Ohio. I haven't really heard them around this area a whole lot. This is called a scissor grinder cicada, and kind of a unique sound to it. And this is, I think, the next slide.
Ooh, sounds like swarming bees.
Yeah. So the next, actually, I think I should have labeled these slides, but the one that we just showed you was the swamp cicada, which I'll play, and this is the common one that we have in this area. So yes, so some of the loudest insects, they can reach, some of them like over 100 decibels, which like a lawnmower I think is like 110 decibels, like a louder lawnmower. So they're loud. And you can hear some of these for, they say, even a mile away, some of the really louder ones.
And these really are small. I mean, none of them is even the size of half your hand.
Yep. Yeah, you can see in that last picture that they are pretty tiny, but just incredibly loud. Yeah, once again. And at this point, I probably should mention that the ones that we hear every year are considered or called the annual cicadas. They come out every 2 to 5 years, depending on the species. I think in this area we have about 5 or 6 different species. So their life cycle is basically as they hatch from an egg, which is usually in a branch. The females will lay the egg in a little twig or branch, and the young, once they hatch, they fall to the ground. They dig through the ground. They attach themselves to a tree root, and they spend several years attached to this tree root, drinking the sap from the tree. And then they emerge, like I said, depending on the species, crawl back, up through the ground, and then they molt. They change into the adult with wings, fly high to a tree, make the call. It's the males making the call to attract the female, and then the whole cycle starts again. The amazing one is the 17-year cicadas, which you probably remember in 2016. And they were just everywhere. It was amazing. And I have our next slide. Make sure I got the slides right. Yeah, and this is of the 17-year. And then if you go to the next one, this is the one that I brought in. But they are amazing with, so 17 years under the ground that they spend attached to a tree root. And apparently they move around to different parts of the tree root. But I couldn't imagine that life, 17 years under the ground, then they emerge, and then as an adult, they live for a month, maybe a month and a half.
Oh, somehow we got back to the monarch
that's okay.
butterfly.
But anyways, yeah, they're a little bit smaller than our annual cicadas. They have the red eyes, which really gives them away. And the sound that they make is just haunting. I mean, it's really, if you remember this sound. So just this really, almost like a siren is going off.
Now, was that the slide we saw with the bug with the red eyes?
Yeah, the red eyes, the last slide. Yep. And this one is just, it's just amazing. Now the interesting thing is when they emerge, I mean, there's thousands, if not, millions of these cicadas, and everybody remembers that. They're just absolutely everywhere. And so why would they emerge all at once? And because our annual cicadas come out every year, depending on the species, and it's and they don't, obviously they're not as abundant as the 17-year. So and the reason is because they want to overwhelm the predators. So the first cicadas that come out are the ones that get eaten. So everything eats. The cicadas, the 17-year cicadas, believe it or not, including people. So they just get devoured, the first ones that come out. And then the second ones that come out a little bit later on, and third, have a better tendency to survive, because there's a point where these animals, like say a raccoon or something, just says, I'm sick of eating cicadas. It's like Thanksgiving dinner, when you like just eat too much turkey and mashed potatoes and stuffing, and you're like, I can't handle any more turkey. This is it. So it's the same kind of comparison. So these animals just get tired of eating these cicadas, and then after that, the ones that come out later survive. So it's just
And
overwhelming
the
the predator.
ones that come out later then and do survive, are they the ones that attach themselves to the trees and eat all the leaves?
So yeah, so a lot of times what it is the eggs that they lay in the twigs of the branches or of the trees will die a lot of times. So you get a lot of the leaves dying because it's actually drilling kind of into the tree branch and just killing a lot of the tree branches. So.
Well, we're just about out of time.
Yep.
Believe it or not. Every time we talk, it just
there's so much to talk
flies
about.
by. So tell us quickly how people can get information.
Yep. So we have our program and events guide that you can pick up at either Wolf Creek Environmental Center, or, see if I can get this right, or our headquarters. And also, but probably the easiest way is our website, medinacountyparks.com. Everything is listed on there, the different activities. We have a lot of activities coming up in the fall, including our big event, Pioneers in the Park, which is second week of October. But like I said, look for that monarch tagging if you're interested in helping with research project of these monarch butterflies.
Well, Mark, it's been wonderful having you with us, and it's been wonderful having all of you tune in to us today. So have a wonderful day. Thank you so much.